Now on CoastTV News.
DelDOT brining ahead of another snowfall headed our way.
Burst pipes.
The best thing to do is insulate your pipes.
What you can do to prevent the damage.
Propane use increases.
We've been extremely busy.
Why refuelable propane stations have had constant business.
This is CoastTV News at 6.
Cold temperatures and costly damages. Good evening. I'm Madeline Overturf.
And I'm Charlie Sakaitis. Welcome to our News at 6. Our top story tonight, more woes from Mother Nature, and that's despite the warm-up.
Take a look at some roads across Sussex County. Fresh brine was put down today from DelDOT. That's the little stripes you see there on the roads. And brine, if you didn't know, it's a liquid that prevents snow and ice from bonding to the pavement.
And this was the scene in Lewis earlier today. The warmer temperatures melted the ice in the bay. It turned everything into a slushy water that sparkled in the sun. Seagulls could be seen enjoying the beach as more sand is visible than it was last week. The parking lots, those are still not in the best condition. Same goes for the Lewis-Georgetown Trail. Despite it still being cold, people were eager to get outside.
Wonderful. Great run. Don't mind the cold weather. But yeah, the trail is not runnable. It's covered with ice in large patches.
It's a winter wonderland, for sure. Absolutely, yeah. This morning as the sun hit the ice, you could hear it popping and making some crazy noises. So I've been looking forward to that, waiting for that as the sun comes up. You know, all the unique experiences, for sure.
A reminder, just be careful where you're walking. There is still that black ice out there, especially in parking lots and on sidewalks.
As extreme cold continues across the area, plumbers say they're getting 10 to 15 calls daily about frozen and burst pipes. Plumbers say freezing temperatures can cause water inside pipes to expand, creating pressure that leads to cracks or breaks. Just yesterday, managers from the villages of 5 Points say a pipe burst flooded the community center, damaging the library. Prevention apparently is key, from keeping the heat on to letting faucets drip, but actually insulation's probably best.
The best thing to do is insulate your pipes. Have them in an insulated area. If it's in a crawl space, make sure that crawl space door is closed and sealed tightly. If it's in a garage, you may want to put some type of supplemental heat in that garage. A lot of our customers are using electric heat or propane.
Plumbers say also knowing where your water main shutoff is, that can actually help limit damage if a pipe does burst.
This brings us right into our CoastTV poll. We want to know, what's your biggest concern about frozen pipes?
Let's take a look at the updated results. 76% say water damage. That's number one by a lot, though repair costs, no water, and business disruption getting a little vote too.
And if you haven't voted yet, you can still do that. You can also leave us a comment. Go to coasttv.com or use our mobile app. We'll show you updated results tonight on CoastTV News at 11.
Let's go ahead and take a live look outside into Milford. Still a lot of snow on the ground there as we turn it over to our First Alert Chief Meteorologist, Paul Williams.
Well, we are expecting more snow on the ground. That's true. And I'm looking for, at the most, maybe an inch more or a coating. But the main thing is going to be how cold we're going to become, worse than where we are right now. Way beyond that. Now, we are going to drop to 30 by 10 o'clock in the evening, and we're going to drop down to 20 to 21 to 19 overnight for the overnight lows. And that's cold enough in and of itself, and I get that. Fortunately, the winds have died down a bit for us to give us a bit of a break from crippling wind chill, but that's only for a brief break. We are picking up some light snow showers making its way across Chrisfield. It's headed towards Chincoteague, and so we're looking at a passing snow flurry or two. And we're in the 30s right now. But here's our thing as far as the precipitation is concerned. It's going to stay limited for late tonight going to tomorrow. A touch maybe we'll try Seaford just briefly, and then it's out of the way. But our real concern is going to be how cold it's going to be. Notice by Friday going into Saturday, we're at negative 17.
Facing the cold means more than just bundling up before going outside. People with gas heating systems need more propane. CoastTV News reporter Kevin Zappé live in Willards. Kevin, the tank behind you, it's been used a lot recently.
Maddie, we are live outside a mom and pop antique store, and right outside that store is their refuelable propane station that has constantly been used during this cold snap. But this one station is just the tip of the iceberg for how much propane is really being used throughout this time. Whether you are a large business with massive tanks full of propane or a small mom and pop shop with one propane station, it all led to the same result during this cold snap. Constant business.
We had people coming from all over.
We've been extremely busy.
Michael Briggs is the Vice President of Propane Operations for Chagrin Home Comfort Products. He gave us a behind-the-scenes look at what it takes to deliver propane across the region.
Propane's an essential fuel for home heating, cooking, generators, agricultural farms, other facilities.
According to Briggs, each one of these tanks holds 60,000 gallons of propane, and more than 300,000 gallons have been used over the past 2 weeks. One of their top customers may not be who or what you'd expect.
Chicken houses, because the floor in the chicken house when the chickens get there have to be 92 degrees. So you can imagine how high they have to put the heat up.
Richard Hosteller runs an antique store with his wife and also has a station outside the store to refill propane tanks for customers. According to Hosteller, he's had well over 100 people stop by over the last week and has been making sure people use their propane properly.
You never want to use a propane tank inside your house. You always want to keep it outside, make sure there's a line ran inside.
Briggs hopes anyone in the propane business stays prepared before facing the cold.
It's very difficult, working in this and treachering through snow and ice and trying to find a tank at somebody's house. And we want to keep our guys safe and the industry safe.
Temperatures are slowly starting to rise, but until we actually get warm, be sure you're heated safely and securely. Now this tank behind me holds 800 gallons of propane, and according to the owner, last week every night this tank was refueled to make sure there was enough propane for customers the next day. I'm Kevin Zapay, live in Ville, Coast TV News.
This farmland on your screen is just a sliver of the 183 acres that was approved to be rezoned today by Sussex County Council to start the process of building the future Crosswinds development. Coast TV News reporter Brandon Ferguson is live in Selbyville. Brandon, the developer plans to keep 18 of those acres as open space.
Charlie, the zoning change moves this land behind me from previously being an agricultural residential area to an agricultural residential planned community. Now, that just makes things easier for the developer to fit more units on this land and to use different housing types. According to Crosswinds LLC plans, the plans call for 191 multi-family townhomes and 161 single-family homes. The zoning change passed in a 4-to-1 vote, with Jane Grunenbaum being the lone no vote, saying roads nearby are not ready for what a neighborhood of this size could bring to the area.
There's too much building going on. Plus, they're not making the road wider out here, which makes a lot of backup for the people.
The next step for developers, as with every zone change, is to get approvals from agencies like DelDOT and DENREC, and then present a final site plan for this neighborhood to the Sussex County Planning and Zoning Commission. Plans also show a 2030 completion date for this neighborhood. Live in Selbyville, Brandon Ferguson, Coast TV News.
Growth on the coast is a big issue, and we have growing pains because everybody wants to live here, but we have a lot of issues because of that, and there's conflict and concern.
Coast TV News has investigated all of those deep-seated issues that brought us to where we are today. On February 4th, that's tomorrow at 7 p.m., join us for an hour-long special. It's going to help you understand the price of paradise growth on the coast.
Now, a correction. Last night, we aired a story about a woman in the Vineyards development in Lewis who was without water over the weekend. As part of our reporting, we reached out to both Seascape Property Management and the developer, Fernmore Homes. We attributed statements to Seascape when they were actually from Fernmore Homes. We regret the error. We're just getting started this evening.
Tonight in sports, get a preview of big-time high school basketball. The matchup is the Smyrna Eagles heading over to Dover, who's looking for an upset.
We are tracking the possibility of some flurries throughout the early morning hours, but it's the tracking of a pocket of Arctic air that has the big headline.
But first, children playing at a unique preschool, the mission of Children's Beach House, after this when we're back in just 60 seconds. Imagine not being able to tell someone what you're feeling or thinking or struggling to learn. You have an invisible barrier people can't see. That's the reality for many children with communicative disabilities.
In this week's The Ties That Bind Us, we see how Children's Beach House in Lewis helps those children and others thrive right here on the coast.
This is Theo.
9 and 10.
That's awesome. Can I get a high five? He's just one of the preschoolers at Children's Beach House.
Jack and Julian.
Some of Theo's friends here have communicative disabilities. The classroom's a mix of students, some verbal, some not so much, but all full of that beautiful wonder only seen in children.
This one has a big net.
Kids who have a delay in speech, which is how we think about preschoolers with these kinds of problems, they learn faster from those kids who are typically developing than they do from anything we can do. And the kids who are typically developing can learn some empathy and some coping skills when they talk with kids who are different.
We learn a lot of different letters.
Preschool is just the start at Children's Beach House. There are summer camps and after-school programs through high school aimed at helping children find their voice, not necessarily literally, but emotionally and mentally too.
One of my favorite stories is a story of one of our staff members who's a social worker. She was a little 7-year-old girl when I came to work here. She's now in her early 20s, and she is serving as a family engagement coordinator and holds a social work degree. And she talks about her experience here, not in that we solved every speech problem or challenge that she experienced, but that she learned how to cope with it, and she learned how to build relationships with people so that she could be successful.
The Children's Beach House Gala is this Saturday, raising money for the nonprofit, which also has enrichment programs like yoga and Feelings Rock. They help students of all backgrounds learn in unique and beneficial ways. But don't take it from me, take it from Joy. What's something that you want me to tell everybody about your school that you come to every day?
My school is so fun.
In addition to those unique enrichment activities, Children's Beach House preschool program has more of the traditional learning, you would say, as well, like days of the week, our seasons, our colors, our shapes, and just for our crew today, snow predictions. I think we have some future meteorologists in the room.
And then, of course, beyond the dune is the bay, and that gives us hours of activities for kids.
A beautiful setting for a beautiful mission.
All the research says if children build relationships with their peer group and with competent, caring adults, then that is the most important protective factor we can put in place between them and all the risks that are out there in the world.
What may just be a normal day for Theo and Joy is changing lives for their peers, one craft, color, and dance at a time. For The Ties That Bind Us, I'm Madeline Overturf.
We are tracking legitimately some flurries that could actually put a little dent in something. I'm talking about maybe a half an inch to a third of an inch of snow, generally speaking, for the entire area. But it's really the cold that's going to step in. That's going to be the big headline getter, because when you talk about wind chills dropping to 18, possibly even 20 below zero by Sunday, that's enough to get your attention. And hopefully I got yours just by letting you know what's on the way. So in Ocean City, we're about 35 degrees. The wind's staying relatively calm for right now. Now we will drop to freezing by 8 o'clock and then below freezing at 9 o'clock, and we'll hover there thanks to the mostly cloudy skies we'll have in place, so the temperatures won't bounce around too much for the rest of the overnight period. Now, we are seeing just a small smidgen of a snow flurry trying to pop in and out occasionally, but generally speaking, the overall mass of precipitation is crossing Crisfield, Anacog, and over towards Chincoteague. It's going to stay well to our south. Most of it will do that. Very similar to the storm that storm system that hit us from the previous weekend, and the majority of it stayed well to our south and really raised the havoc for the folks in North Carolina. But we do see that possibility of a few flurries, and overnight we're looking at 2 o'clock in the morning for Milton and along Highway 9 for Georgetown up towards Lewis. That's when we're probably going to see the majority of the possibility of a flurry or two begin to pay us a visit. The big story is without a doubt how cold it's been. Now, we've been tracking the trending so far. The darker the blue, the further away from the norm this has been. So this is about the norm. So when you take a look at the 30th, the 31st, and the 1st, and those at times already had a lot of blue headed that way, but even deeper blue, meaning it's even colder than usual. So after the early morning spritz or so, we'll have temperatures bouncing back into the 30s. And then our temperature trend becomes interesting because our normal high is 46, our normal low is 29. We will be below our normal low for the high temperature Saturday and Sunday. That's how cold we're going to be. And we'll drop to 9 degrees, 15 and 19 in the early morning hours. But this is the big story. Take a look at the wind chills for single digits for us on Thursday and Friday, down to 2 to 3 to 4 degrees Friday. And then Saturday by lunchtime, it's going to be a negative 11. And here comes the haymaker. You ready? Here we go. Boom. 18 below. That's what it's going to feel like at 9:30 in the morning on Sunday in Ellendale. 16 below in Lewis. 15 below for us. Yeah, even my co-anchors are doing this. Don't nobody want it, and I come back with that news, right? Here we go. So we're looking at a definite hard freeze for the next few days in a row. So Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, we'll start rolling towards that momentum of colder weather. 34 for the high in Ocean City. And finally, 34 for the high on Friday for Lewis and Rehoboth Beach. Finally, here's a look at your extended forecast. That wind on Saturday is the real deal, folks.
The Delmarva Sports Network from the Wawa Studio.
Good evening, Delmarva. Happy Tuesday. Hope you've been enjoying the start to your week. And tonight on DSN, I think we've got something to make your Tuesday a little bit better. 2 of the top high school boys basketball teams in Delaware squaring off up in Dover. The Senators are hosting the Smyrna Eagles in their second matchup of the season. The first time these teams met, it was an electric back-and-forth game. Smyrna led Dover by 15 at half and looked poised to upset the top team in the state of Delaware, but the Senators used a massive fourth quarter after trailing by 14 points to start it to come all the way back and win in the final seconds thanks to a Javion Dennis floater with 1.3 seconds left on the clock. The Senators were powered by 19 points from Kareem King and 13 from Terrence Williams. The Senators haven't played, though, since January 22nd due to the inclement weather that's plagued parts of the peninsula. Smyrna is coming off a 7-point loss to St. George's Tech, and the task gets much taller for the Eagles when you factor in the fact that Dover's won 41 straight Henlope and North games and is unbeaten against Delaware schools this season. You can go over to DSN and catch this game live in just a bit for a 6:30 p.m. tip. That'll do it for sports. Have a great night.
Yeah, the rumors are true. We are expecting a little bit of snow overnight, but, just a flurry or two. Worst case scenario, maybe an inch well to our south near Chincoteague. That's primarily it. But we're looking for 31 degrees by 10 o'clock. Now, here's a look at the future snow, which is why I'm not making a big hubbub about it, bub. I mean, we're looking at maybe a third of an inch of snow, and that's the most impressive amount that we're looking at so far. But generally speaking, we're staying pretty clear at this point. Wayne Bowden of Millsboro, congratulations, you're our umbrella giveaway winner, courtesy of Paul Davis Property Restoration Experts. Keep up with your forecast by calling our weather line, sponsored by the law offices of Bruckstedt, Mandalis, and Federico. Finally, here's a look at your exclusive 10-day forecast. As cold as today might be, this is a warm day compared to what's happening this weekend.
All right, Paul, thank you, and thanks for joining us here at 6.
For more news and more weather, download that Coast TV News app.
The NBC Nightly News is up next.
And we'll see you later tonight for Coast TV News at 11. Have a great night.